Suns were officially eliminated on an 8-game losing streak from playoff contention. They're currently at 35-45. They are behind the likes of Dallas, who traded the lifeblood of their franchise and got 10 games out of Anthony Davis, and Sacramento, who fired their coach in the middle of the season. Those are the two teams that the Phoenix is finished behind. And it was funny because after the availability, the new owner, Mat Ishbia, who has been a big name in the owner's circles as somebody who wants to kind of take that Mark Cuban route of pulse of the team, knows how to build it, that type of thing. Well, he spoke to the media, and he had some interesting things to say about the state of the Suns, where they're at, and what's to like about them. Take a listen to the guy who runs the show over with the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, it's extremely fixable. I mean, let's just be real. Although this isn't a cool narrative, and the national media really won't want to play it out there, but like, ask the other 29 GMs. 26 of them would trade their whole team for our whole team and our draft picks and everything as is. Like, the house is not on fire. We're in great position. It's not hard to fix. It's not like we're like, hey, we don't have enough talent to win a championship. We have enough talent to win a championship.
So that was the majority owner of the Phoenix Suns, Mat Ishbia, during availability yesterday, saying that 29, if you ask 29 of the GMs in the National Basketball Association, 26 of them would trade their entire roster for what the Suns have today. Mike, do you agree with this sentiment? Or
no, I mean, I don't. Listen, Bradley Beal is a great player. Devin Booker is a great player. And Kevin Durant, a top 15, 20 guy all time. It just didn't work. Sometimes you put stars together and it doesn't work. Ask the Brooklyn Nets. You know, ask some of these super teams that have been constructed and just haven't worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and it takes a lot to know that and to blow it up while you can and start the rebuild because, I mean, Colin, I believe 2 shows ago, I was all over the Phoenix Suns. I said they went supernova, meaning that, you know, the sun went cold. It evaporated away. It really did. The fact that this poor owner is sitting here still thinking that the tandem of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant could still win something is crazy to me. And forgive me for thinking that Kevin Durant is probably going to force his way out. Or some of these, even Bradley Beal or Devin Booker. Now, I don't necessarily, I can't sit here and say I'm, Scott Marks and understand every single contract on the Phoenix Suns, but like, Colin, the thing's over. I think the players realize it. I think the fans realize it. The only guy that doesn't is the one who's running the show.
And it's funny because, well, one thing I'll say is the Suns did win basically 50 games last year, so they had a good season under Vogel, but then they decided to move on from him. They bring in Mike Budenholzer, who is, again, a championship-winning head coach. Vogel was, too. Vogel won one with Frank Vogel, the former coach, won one with the Lakers. So the idea that he's sitting there thinking this is fixable, this is fixable, this is fixable, when you're about to probably get your third coach in 3 years. I have a hard time believing that they're going to run this back with Mike Budenholzer. What are you going to get rid of him and go get who? Mm-hmm. But that's probably what they're going to do. If you're talking about the longevity of the Suns, how long can this last? It's a short time period. If you're thinking about the actual assets that they have in the short term, they've gotten rid of all of them. And you got their best player, Durant, who is probably going to give you a trade request before the end of the year.
That's what I mean.
Here we are. And this is not a team that was hurt all year. They got 62 games out of Durant. They got 74 games out of Booker, and this was still a 2 to play. And they got 52 games, which is probably pretty good for par with Bradley Beal. 52 games, that is. Now, they have nothing else basically underneath that. But in terms of the big three, you got 50 games out of them. You're going to go 35-45 currently, and you're going to say this is fixable. This guy has some nerve to say that.
He does.
For an owner.
And Colin, you mentioned the big three. That's all they have, though. Like, you look at championship rosters from years past, they got role players. They got guys who step up in big spots. Andre Iguodala for the Golden State Warriors, J.R. Smith for the Cavaliers all those years. Like, you have to have some role players that are going to be able to step up in big-time moments. And I'm sorry, but Oso Ogudaro and Grayson Allen aren't going to cut it as role players. So Bradley Beal could get his 25. Devin Booker can get his 20. All right, that's cool. But what's going on with the other roster? What's going on with the other pieces?
This has been one of the biggest jokes of a team in the entire National Basketball Association. 35-45 on an 8-game losing streak. They got rid of Frank Vogel after they won 50 games and they lost in the first round. They got rid of Monty Williams 2 years removed after they won 65 games. And they decided to make the move for Kevin Durant, which everybody liked at the time. And they gave up a lot of assets in the process. Bradley Beal was a waste. But they made aggressive moves, but I think they're operating about 5 to 8 years past where we are. They are thinking in the term of the super team. That is not the NBA anymore. The NBA is not the 3 great players and we'll see you in the finals. That is not what the NBA... And Bradley Beal is a mold of what the great player he was a couple years ago with a bad team.
Agreed.
But this is not the 2013s where you just put together 3 good players and then something's going to figure itself out. That's not the case anymore. This is a little bit more strategic in terms of matchups, defensive prowess, the whole thing. The Suns haven't done that. It's like they're operating, but they haven't taken a look around the league in the last 4 or 5 years. That's where we're at.
If they run this back next year, Colin, all the teams above them, maybe excluding, I don't know what the Mavericks are going to be, sadly. I don't know what the Kings are going to be. But like Minnesota, Golden State, Memphis, the Clippers, the Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets, Thunder, I think all those teams with what they have right now, not mentioning what they're going to do to add and retool to their teams, I think they're going to be better. And I truly do think that the owner, how do I pronounce his name?
Mat Ishbia.
I think
Ishbia.
He needs to have the come to realization moment, Colin, where it's like, all right, it just didn't work out. Are you there with this team? I know you said they won 50 games last year, and Colin, maybe they do run this thing back next year and they win 50 games again. Do you believe this team can win a championship? I don't.
No,
I don't think this team can win a
I could have
championship.
told you this 2 years ago. The second, and that team was not that good. The Booker, Ayton, and Paul team that went and faced the Bucks in the championship
Chris
in
Paul,
2021.
they had an old Chris Paul on that team that played out of his mind in the Western Conference playoffs.
So this is a team that got blown out by Luka Doncic in Game 7 against Dallas. In Dallas's, I believe it was in the Suns building, lost by 40 after blowing a 3-2 lead in that one. But I'm sitting here thinking that they're not operating along the wavelength of where everybody else is. And it's almost like a sense of delusion that if Mat Ishbia is saying, the owner of the Suns is saying that 26 of the 29 other GMs in the league would trade their rosters today, what tells you that assumption? What? Cleveland wouldn't. Boston wouldn't. The Knicks wouldn't. OKC definitely wouldn't. You think the Lakers would? No. You think Denver would? No.
Can I take it a step further? I don't even think Detroit would with Cunningham and Duran and their young players and Ivy. So I think it's a mixture of delusion, Colin, and that delusion stems from maybe thinking Booker is better than he actually. And listen, I'm sick to my stomach to say because Devin Booker's a Kentucky kid. I love him, but like, Colin, he can't stay healthy. He's got an injury problem. Bradley Beal has an injury problem. I don't think outside of Durant, I don't think the other 2 quote unquote stars are as good as advertised.
Now, the one thing with the Suns is they've played 8 straight playoff teams. They've had a hard schedule, but this has been one of the most pathetic teams. They started like 10-1 on the season too. It was a team that completely ran out of gas. They're 35-45, officially eliminated. If we're going to chalk up the big X, the big failure of the NBA season, I think the Suns would be near the top of the list, to be quite frankly with you. Yeah. That's where that is what I see there. They have Devin Booker, Durant, and Beal playing 50-plus games, 60 near, and we're going to win 35 games, and you're going to sit there to the media and say that, hey, I love where we're at?
Right.
If you can't figure, isn't that more of a testament to how badly it's going? If you have such a great roster and you can't even make the Western Conference play-in, and the 2 teams ahead of you, Sacramento and Dallas sold the spark of their team February 2nd, and Sacramento fired their coach. Mm-hmm. I'm over that team. I'm over that experiment. And I didn't really believe in it to begin with because that's not what the NBA is nowadays. It is not, let's get our 3 great players. The Suns tried, the Nets tried it. That didn't work. The Clippers have tried it about 3-4 different times. We're waiting to see. Clippers have played well now, but still.
I'm going to take it a step further, too. Sacramento fired their head coach, and you're still unable to win 40 games to get into the playoffs. And everyone always tells me how much better, and listen, it has been this year for the most part, and in years past, how much better the Western Conference is than the Eastern Conference. Colin, the Suns wouldn't even be in, as of right now, I know, like we said, we have 2 games to play. The Miami Heat have a better record than the Phoenix Suns.
Well, they play an easier conference.
But you get what I'm saying, though. Like, even with the same record, they're not even in the playoffs on the Eastern side. And you mentioned disappointing seasons in the NBA. They are top 3. I think it goes Dallas because of the mess that happened with Luka Doncic. The 76ers because they gave Paul George all that money and Joel Embiid played, 5 games? And then I would probably go Phoenix there. I'm with you. Phoenix is a top 3